We are live. Guys, I'd like to introduce you to Jordan Greenwald, a gentleman I used to teach with, uh, traveled. I checked out your Facebook page. So, I do my childish research, but I love
I
it.
know
Like you've
the
traveled a lot
Facebook message.
and I love that.
All right,
You've like,
Snoop.
yeah. And so, okay. So introduce yourself. I'm going to share this real quick, but introduce yourself and let's make sure we can hear you.
Sure. Hey, I'm Jordan Greenwald. Berger and I go back when we were colleagues in the education world, which is where I still work, and I'm here just because I saw a post by this guy, and we had a dialogue that looked like it was going the way that 2020 takes everything, which is start a spark and send it into a fucking nasty bonfire. But we reined it back in, so yeah, excited for just a conversation and exploring how we started from a similar place and found ourselves in here.
Which is the perfect actually, which I love because I like the whole ideal of it. That and why I got so excited about this because originally I just thought you were. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I don't have.
I think you should stick with the line you told me, the Seattle hipster, and
Well,
I feel
yeah,
like
I
it
I
is.
saw the. Well, here was your thing.
I
And
know what my
so
picture is.
and so I saw it and I'm thinking, oh Jesus, god damn, this fucking snowflake's
That's
gonna
right.
tell me shit. And I
Yeah.
just was in a weird mood. It's never an excuse to just, fire on someone. Like I won't say like well, no, I can't even say I didn't fire. It was mild for me. It was super mild because you already seemed nice in just the way you were talking originally. So I saw no reason to be like to go after someone. You didn't call me a moron. You didn't call me anything. You just questioned what I was saying. And yeah, and so I went back with, hey, look, I told you to look at something. You didn't look at it. So I don't want to hear your snowflake little points, right? Whatever I said. And then he writes something back. So I go to read it and it says, like, hey, I did watch the thing and I did respond. And I go, oh, God, I am such an asshole. Like, I totally told this guy, like, you didn't look at shit and he did. And the points you were making, obviously, you did look at it. And so all of a sudden I'm like, okay. And that's when I wrote you the apology saying, hey, you know what? I'm a dick for doing that. It was a total twat move to fucking say something and not read it. And I totally didn't read it. And I told you the whole thing. And then I apologized even again after that, not even knowing who you were. Today, I was looking at it and I go, oh, God, he's one of those Teach for America fuckers. Oh, God. I go, we're both teachers? Oh, and because the joke, I was telling you I taught at Charles Drew. The joke was always this: you knew the Teach for America classrooms because at lunch they were dark because that's where they were crying. And no lie, I am not lying to you. I swear on
I know.
everybody's life.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Every single one of them would cry at a different time. And I just thought, wow, what's your life like? You like, what's going on with your life? That, but if you remember, we knew a teacher, a redhead, um, who was bullied and butchered and filmed and everything
Yeah.
else, and he would cry all the time at a place we worked. I won't call.
To
He
be
was a
fair, I
great
think
guy.
most teachers cry at some point. Like it's a brutal job.
I mean, for me, it was like I just thought teaching to me teaching's like silly in the sense of ever getting upset with kids. Like I think they're hysterical. And I think when they get super mad, like I had a kid one time, quick story, but he was mad. He comes to my classroom, cholo kid. He's like maybe 17, 18. It was a non-public school. He's all tatted up, cholo kid. He's trying to talk to this 12-year-old girl, and I go, hey, go out of my class now. Stay away from her. He's like, I go, no. Stay away from her. Stop talking to her. Go away. He goes, you know what? Fuck you, cracker. And I go, hey. He turns around. I go, I'm Jewish. If you're going to be racial, just get it right. And he goes, what? I go,
Yeah.
hi. And he just goes, oh, and leaves. And all you got to do with kids is you throw them off for 1 second. They're fucking lost. They're like Rain Man going 12, 15. And they don't know what to do. And they go, and you go, right? And they go, oh, yeah. And they're back. And we know people who have worked with kids where they scare them.
Yeah.
See, that's why I always liked you. Is your technique is love, your technique is caring, is passion. We've seen people who think they get a result from intimidating kids,
Yeah. I mean,
and you
come on,
don't scare them.
you got to play the hand you're dealt. I can't really work a scary angle.
Well, I mean, there's no point in it
Come on
because there's
now.
always going to be a more badass kid. I used to throw chairs at teachers when I was a student. I got kicked out of LA Unified. So if a teacher called me on shit and got crazy, I threw something at them. I threw punches. Now what are they going to do? Touch me? They go to jail. So now everyone knows they're full of shit. And I don't ever play my cards out like that. No, they'll call me and I told them, you ever hit me, I'll crumble to the ground. I will
Right.
fall there and lay in the fetal position until I've collected money from you and everyone you know. And, and I'll just retire on that punch. And, but that's, so what's funny is, so I was saying about Charles Lewis, I saw the Teach for America thing and I was like, and I start looking, I go, wait a second. Holy shit. Wait, I know this dude. Oh, I love this guy. I go, oh, okay, this guy. I go, this is I thought this is my alter ego. Like me and you truly care about helping young people improve their lives, get better, and we have no other motive. Our motive isn't to get ahead. It isn't to impress anyone. It's because we actually care about what we're doing. If I'm right about you.
I mean, I will say there are definitely times that I wanted to impress myself and wanted to achieve certain things within that track. But I mean, yeah, no, on the whole, yeah, I want to find people to help because at a certain point, that's the best thing I can think of to do with my energy and my time.
Yeah, it's one world.
Yeah.
And you got to live in it. So we get to talking and that we're okay. And I realized, okay, this would be so interesting because I understand why you're so confused with how I can have certain logic and then be so illogical.
I want to say, I don't see it as you having certain logic. There are certain things, like you said, that you see a couple of Trump's policies that you think are amazing that I questioned. And there are certain, I won't call them beliefs, I would say premises that you operate on that I see as being part of a misinformation ecosystem. And that's a piece that trips me out because clearly I hear that we're looking to achieve similar ends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just like, okay, um, either I'm super off or like things with the Great Reset. I think that's pretty much what started our whole conversation. Right. And I think you called it, like this obvious Marxist leftist move. And I look at that and I'm just like, I don't see anything wrong with a Marxist leftist move because I think if we don't take care of our working class, the rest of the system is gonna topple. We're like,
yeah,
tiny little pogo stick supporting a fucking behemoth.
No, yeah, and the rats and those rat fucking rich people are keeping everything. Those rat ass rich Republicans. And now your dad, you're fully Jewish or half Jewish?
So I'm half Jewish. I was bar mitzvahed and I observed the culture. My mom grew up Christian, so we did the two
Your dad's
holidays.
Jewish though.
Yeah. And that was what we identified as and went to synagogue and all of that.
Well, not Judaism. Judaism being the religion, Jewish being the race of people we are. We're a bloodline. And that's what, forever, it was a big confusion because the world was racist and Jews were like, okay, let's just low key this motherfucker. Like, we'll just let them call us a religion right now because it makes less people against us. It made us white in America, so to speak, sadly, but in that sense. And so, but the reason I say that is, does your dad see it that way?
Truthfully, my dad's connection to his Jewish identity is largely his connection to his own dad. I think that's the heart of it for him more than an ancestry or a psychological identity that connects with that sort of bloodline and ancient tribe.
But he's Republican.
No,
Oh, your dad's not.
no, no one in my immediate family is.
Okay. Okay. So I was reading his thing, and I don't know why I thought he was Republican
What were you reading?
on his Facebook.
Just like
The
his
groups he was parts of, and so
that's interesting.
yeah, I assessed Republican. But now, okay, and so now here's the thing. So you're cool with the like socialism type of thing.
There are a lot of pieces of it that I'm just like, that makes a lot of sense. That sounds like it's addressing needs that I see.
And are you guys willing to like give up everything?
What does that
Well,
mean?
because we have to, because what they're talking about is the Great Reset, is taking all the top tier wealth, right? But if we follow what happened before the whole, like if you, I mean, I'm not going to school you in history. I'm gonna tell you ahead of time. We know I'm special education. I think you taught either English or history, right?
Yeah, English.
Okay, but you also, I believe, taught history or something. No.
I always liked it. I paired up
Okay.
some history.
Okay, I taught some history off track, but I'm into it now. If you look at the history of the Holocaust and how it took place, it literally went like this. I get what you're like. To me, I'm not a Republican whatsoever. I'm a Trump publican. I don't care about politics. I don't believe they've ever mattered, really. I thought they were all the same people always. If you follow the history of Trump and who he was connected to, I accused him forever of being a Trojan horse for the Clintons and stuff to get into the Republican Party, destroy it, and give the New World Order. I said that. I'm on video and everything in my podcast saying that back in 2015, 2016, when he started to run. I was saying that Trump already ran as a Republican and dropped out right away. He supported the Clintons. Or I'm sorry, he ran as a Democrat. Sorry, Trump ran as a Democrat for a minute and then bailed. It was almost a joke, but he did it years and years back. He supported financially the Clintons. He hung out with them for holidays. Like their families were tight. He was tight with all these people, but he's on record saying, you can hear it from his mouth, when they asked him about Epstein, he said, not my kind of guy. Trump banned Epstein from every club he has. Epstein was banned from all of Trump's clubs. Trump's presidency arrested more pedophiles and sex traffickers than any presidency in history in the first 2 years. He was nailing everyone. Now, here's my biggest question. Forget all that. The people who hate Trump are Schumer, Pelosi, the Clintons, Newsom. Do you really trust those people?
6 million Americans. Now,
The what?
I don't want to.
No, forget
like
that. I'm
everyone who
saying though the
voted for
people that are
Biden
going after him.
Trump.
The what?
But I don't want to just say everyone who voted for Biden hates Trump. But like, this is not some concentrated plot to sow hatred against a man who doesn't deserve the
Well,
fury and outrage that he has incited against himself. Like, I will bear witness that like all of those players you just mentioned could have been completely absent, take all of their voices away. If all I had was Trump's own words and actions, I would still believe that the man is as dangerous and unfortunate a person as can be.
why? What did he say? I only ask, I'm not arguing with you. I'm sure you have your reason. What is it he said? Because again, keep in mind, this is the guy who didn't use his child who has autism, yet this child has lived an amazing life. He's with him everywhere. He just never forefronts him. His two daughters are incredibly, incredibly successful, strong, and independent. His older son Eric is the biggest dickheaded twat in the world, and I hope they shove a living elephant up his fucking ass. I hate that motherfucker. He is such a
Dude.
piece of shit. They need to punch his head. You know what they need to
They're
do? They
pieces
need
of
to
work.
take Biden's Hunter. They need to take Hunter Biden and Eric Trump and smash their heads together till they both die. They're the worst people in the world. Those two. Fuck that Eric Trump dude because he kills fucking big game. You're
Yeah.
a scumbag.
So
What?
those
daughters?
cases, you know,
With
his
the daughters? I mean, how can you be against
family.
two
I've got
amazingly strong women? Now, wait, he's a racist, but his son-in-law is 100% Jewish.
hold up. Let me answer your question.
Yeah.
Let me answer your question.
Okay,
You
yeah.
asked what it was. Everything that I have seen that man do, when I filter it through my lens of like, what's the motive behind here? Everything comes back to self-image.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
No, that's a given. He's an egotist. He's a bloated, egotistical asshole.
But the danger of that, the problem of that, when he uses the Department of Justice, when he uses the levers of
For
our
what?
most
But for what?
deeply, like,
What did he use
like,
him for?
okay, so DOJ, one example being to have Bill Barr step in and use the resources of the Department of Justice to defend him in the rape case. That was just in the last
What rape
couple.
case?
I mean,
No,
okay.
what rape case? You mean Snowy Daniel?
No.
Oh, what rape case? There was no rape case.
Bill
Just so you know,
Barr
I'm telling you 100%. If you mean the accusation that never went to any type of case,
rape case. I believe so. Jean Carroll defamation lawsuit.
yeah, but it never became a case. It was dropped. I mean, it was dumped.
It
wasn't paid off.
largely
It was
because
dumped.
the impropriety of using Department of Justice
No.
resources to defend a personal affair.
No, what I'm saying is it was a false attack. So he does have that right as the president to use that because it was inflammatory. It was an attack on the president that was wrong.
The
I'm just telling you,
Department of Justice said in court papers Mr. Trump was acting in his official capacity as president when he denied ever knowing Miss Carroll. Like, what kind of shit is that, man?
He didn't know her.
And so they're going to use that loophole to say it's in his official capacity as president who he knows and what business he does, when this is something that occurred back in the 1990s.
Yeah, because it was brought up during his presidency. That's what I'm just saying. If you follow, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. It's no big deal, but this is what I'm saying is if you follow the actual case and what happened, what happened? It was dumped by the courts because there was nothing. It was a complete inflammatory thing. The reason that he was allowed to use the Department of Justice is during his presidency.
I don't like you got to show me that. I've never seen anything that just said it was summarily dismissed. And between that,
what did you see that showed
the entire impeachment inquiry?
Wait, what did you see that showed you he was ever found guilty or paid her off?
No. I'm not claiming that he was ever found guilty of anything, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm also saying that I never saw anything that it was summarily.
Okay. And if you're mad that he lied, did you also want Clinton impeached and kicked out of office?
Did I want Clinton impeached?
Yeah, and kicked out of office. Because if Trump lied, Clinton also lied, but Clinton admitted to lying because he was busted by tape.
But it's also not just lying. I think that's a huge false equivalency.
So, well, I mean, right. Again, like I said, if you read the records, like I said, he took a cigar and put it in Monica Lewinsky's vagina, then smoked it.
Personally disgusting things. I understand where you
in the
have
Oval Office.
Revulsion.
In the Oval Office.
Yes.
That's less offensive. Wait. That's less offensive in the Oval Office than him using the Department of Justice?
Offensive. 1,000% less offensive. Because what Trump did is he's using the power of the presidency not just to fuck and get some personal boost.
Bang a bitch is okay. So when he said grab it by the pussy, you agree with him, but only when Clinton did it.
No.
Like he used the Oval Office to bang an intern.
And then got caught, acted humble.
State president.
I don't even know if he was. Maybe, for the next decade, he was just like, I can't believe I had to do all of that shit in the public eye, and he scorned it. But it mattered to me that he did, and it matters to me that Trump has never shown an ounce of humility. And Like,
Why
these
should
are
he?
taxpayer funds. He's attacking people who have spent their entire careers and lives building up their credibility.
Who?
People like Marie Yovanovitch, people like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman. And then when they go against him, or when they try to say, hey, there's something that has never been happened when we're moving things to classified servers, when we're trying to raise flags, and now we're getting our asses fired for saying, hey, this has never happened, and we just feel like we should say something. Like, that's it's not just disgusting, it's shady, and it's mortgaging what taxpayers and what American citizens need to have in their government,
Mhm.
which is both trust, and it's our money, and it's our public officials that, like, the most routine, boring shit has become political. Who thought we'd fight over the post office? Like,
Who? Yeah. Who thought we'd fight over a president's birth certificate?
yeah.
Wait. Weren't those people idiots for just throwing out accusations about Obama not being born here? I thought they were. I thought the people who blanketly, without any ever seeing a birth certificate or anything, or ever even having any privy to real knowledge, they would blanketly throw out accusations about Obama in 70 different ways. The truth about
Right.
Obama is simply this: he grew up wealthy. His mom worked for the CIA. She wasn't a deep operative or anything. She just worked for the CIA. She was a German white ass woman. The dad had money in Africa. That's why he was an exchange student. Nobody walked over through a river from Africa here. They all came, the people who came here, except the Lost Boys, had money, and he wasn't a Lost Boy. So the dad had money in Africa. The family was political in Africa with the dad's family. The mom's family was super connected, followed the line. Um, that's why he is, I believe, a third or fourth removed blood relative to Dick Cheney. They both admitted it live, so it's not hearsay; it's from their mouth. They both admitted that yes, they are related down the line. So when we start finding out all this insanity and all these other things, what I'm saying is I get it. I thought those people were insane, but see, here's the thing: you want me like when Obama and Biden were asked about gay marriage. They said in during their first term during the first term, they said marriage is between a man and a woman. When Trump was asked on video or on interview about gay marriage, he goes, "Yeah, that people should do whatever they want." I got a lot of people who are gay, a lot of friends who are gay. That was Trump's response. When Trump's dated women of multiple races, his wife's an immigrant. Whether you hate her because he got her in here, yeah, of course he got her in here. And if you hate her because she's gorgeous and she used that, hmm, we all know people who do the same thing and you don't hate them. And so we choose to hate her because we associate her. We choose to hate him because he's so evil. All he's done is exercise his legal rights to argue this. Whether you agree with him or not, we should all, if we went like this, you are such an idiot liar, dude. But yeah, totally. Go ahead and recount. It's a couple days. What does it matter? And it would settle everything. But nobody's going to do that. And everyone gives a reason. And here's what I'm saying: Trump's a bloated, egotistical piece of shit who is a womanizer. That said, he seems like he's been an amazing dad and he didn't raise his daughters that way. So I don't know how much of a true womanizer, but I know he's a womanizer. Like, I know he wants to be he's the kind of guy who said he banged a girl but didn't. He's that
Yeah.
guy. He's that dickhead. He's the guy I don't particularly like. This is the thing. What he didn't say is what he didn't do is vote against busing. What he didn't do is vote for segregation. What he didn't do was
Yeah,
the things that
because
are
he
on
wasn't in
record.
the public eye. He was busy
Right.
grifting and creating failed businesses. Like, to me, that seems like an
But
asset
yeah,
for
but it
Joe
doesn't
Biden,
clear
not
Biden's
his record.
racism. Well, it
What's
doesn't
that?
clear Biden's racism. And it doesn't clear the fact that Biden has a Snow White family line. Not one, except for the hookers that his son bangs, everyone else is white.
No, dude, Biden, like,
It doesn't.
he's gonna have so much ammunition. There's so much valid criticism. No
Well,
doubt.
one, he's senile. We know he wasn't really elected. How many Democrats didn't want
Bullshit.
Biden?
No way. No way. Absolutely not. If you want to say that this was a fraudulent election or
Oh,
that
no,
there
no,
was
no.
any sort of
No.
conspiracy,
I'm
I'm going
saying,
to need you to come with the evidence.
oh, no, it's not that. I personally do believe that. But this is the thing: I have no more knowledge than you have that it wasn't. You don't know any more that it wasn't than I know that it was. Me
I
and you
don't
and
agree with
all of
you.
America. So what?
I don't agree with you. We have people who are in positions to certify and who have been around for elections
No,
past.
that
We
that's
have
yeah.
national security intelligence officers saying this was the most
Mhm.
secure election in history, and Trump
Yes,
tried to tamp that down.
right. But here's the thing: my dad doesn't lie.
What?
That's what you just told me. You just told me your dad doesn't lie. But you said my dad does lie. Wait, you just said my dad lies
No,
and your
that's
dad
not
doesn't.
fair to say
No,
that
no,
this
because
is
that's what you're
just a,
telling
like,
me is
my dad, your dad.
your experts tell the truth, but my experts are lying idiots. Why
No,
can't
well,
both our experts be experts?
what's the credibility of your experts? Who
The
are your
same as
experts?
yours, the same people in office, the people that are standing up for the president, the people that are coming forth, the people, the news people
I'm not
on
pointing to
Newsmax,
elected
on OA,
officials, though.
Tucker Carlson, the people like that that are protecting the police, that are that I find to be reputable journalists. Hold on. What I'm saying is though, but this is what I'm trying to get through to America is I don't think you're a complete idiot for having your view. I think your view comes. It's like this. I don't think that somebody who thinks that people who have abortions are the devil and they're murderers. I don't think those people are horrible. I think their view comes from their limited knowledge of life. If I was brought up a fundamental Christian and all I knew was that abortion was murder, I would think everyone who got an abortion was a murderer. But I didn't grow up that way. I grew up with the ability to realize that it's like this. I've had multiple abortions, or I haven't had them, obviously. I've been the other part
Been a
in
part of the decision making.
I always paid my part. No, but I've had multiple
Yeah.
abortions. Then I had kids. Once I had kids, my first two, the reason I had my third kid is I'm pro-choice. My choice is to have them now. I'm still pro-choice. Sure. My choice is to have them. I think people who want to tell a woman or anyone else, I believe this way. Nobody should tell a woman what she should do with her body. But if a woman gets pregnant and wants to have the baby and the man says, I do not want to have that baby, that's fine. That woman has that choice to have that baby. That man should have that choice to walk the fuck away. Because you could say whatever you want, but equality's got to be. If we have choices, then everyone has to have choices. But I am hardcore for a woman's right to choose. At the same time, you see, it's like I grew up in a way where I was allowed to think about different things and this and that. I also understand why those people think the way they do. I understand why you see things the way you do. My daughter, my oldest daughter, came back from school in the fall last year or in the summer, like Gloria from Archie Bunker. And she starts questioning me. I go, baby, are you fucking serious? You grew up in Santa Clarita. Why are you getting on me, baby, about anything and people's rights and this and that? And so what I was saying is, me and you grew up in the same neighborhood area. What part of Granada Hills? Did you go to Frost?
No, I went to Nobel.
Okay, I went to Nobel for a month. I went to Holmes. I went to Frost. I went to Sepulveda, and then I dropped out. But I had to go to Holmes, the one school up on Plummer, where they had the gates and you had to be walked to lunch. It was fucking horrible.
That's right. Nobel never had the gates.
I went to Nobel for like a month and I got kicked out of there too. But yeah, I would get kicked. I would last like a week or so in school and then I just leave. But yeah, so I grew up. You played soccer in the place where my dad built the soccer leagues. There were only the baseball fields there, and then my dad brought in a bunch. He had an importing business, tools. But yeah, and so we lived there. And now, what area did you live there?
So we were off Rinaldi. There's that Hillcrest Church right there at the corner off the 118. So we were at Balboa Park a bunch. And I mean, when I was like in elementary school playing soccer, I wasn't paying attention to like the names of parks or where they were located. So Chatsworth Park, I know, E.T.
Pettit Park. Yeah,
Pettit. Yeah.
I started out in Pettit in the 70s. Like, you're how old?
Okay.
You're how old?
I'm 30.
Okay. So yeah, so we're of different eras.
Yeah.
I have friends whose kids are close to your age.
Sure.
And so now in that sense, me and you were growing up the same way. Like we used to go TPing. We used to go do the church jump on Jolette and El Oro Way. And then we'd go up to Mission Peak. There's Mission Peak. There was all these different things. I don't know if you ever saw the horse stable on up on Balboa, but it wasn't on Balboa. It was on Jolette.
Jolette is very close to, I think it's off actually, Mayerling Street.
Yeah, I lived on Georgette and Jolette.
That's where I grew up. The horse stables that you're talking about
where Sugar, the horse Sugar, what used to be there.
Yeah. It's okay. So if you go along Mayerling, there are still horses and they have little signs about like, they like carrots, they like apples, don't bring this, whatever. And if you go up like Rexpin, there's a spot where you can get a nice look of the whole valley. And like that was the place where my sister and her boyfriend took me and like smoked me out for the first time.
We used to go motorcycle riding there and four-wheeling because there were no houses. Back then, when I was a kid there were no houses. And so that's what I'm saying is I had that same life. Then, you know, everything changed and I ended up in Pacoima. And where we, and that's why I say where we differ a lot is you're like the things you do are nice. They really are. And you do care. Like you care a lot. But to me, it's visiting. Like you have ideas, right? Like, oh, this should be, and this should be, and this should be. But you'd never want to go back and give up everything you had to make it that way for everyone. Meaning your dad as a doctor made a lot of money, and it's not fair that people's health costs money. And it's really not fair if you want to look at a Marxist way or a socialist way. It's not fair for doctors to be so rich and things like that. So that wouldn't be. And he'd just be part of a system, and you wouldn't have had anything you had.
I think that's selling Marxism short, and I think that's a straw man for socialism that gets played a lot.
Well, where does it work?
What's that?
Where is it that it's working?
I'm not going to point to a place that it's working, but like I don't know of a place one where it would be an accurate model of what it would look like in America, because it would have to be tailored to where we are. But there are plenty of places in Europe, and like, you know, I didn't prep for this. I don't have.
No, me neither. I don't either. I go right off the cuff. That's what my whole life is, right off the cuff, because I make decisions without prepping because my instinct is good.
Okay. So I will say, you know, every time that there's a Facebook thread where some Americans are decrying socialism, there's always like the Finnish person in there, or the Swede who's like, actually, like, yeah, we do pay 42% of our taxes, but like this, and this is free, and like it all runs well, and blah blah, you know. So,
but do they tell you that they're homogenous?
And like I said,
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is the safest place in America. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is the safest place in America. It's also the white supremacist capital of the world.
I don't have a vision that I can put down right now with like the three core focus areas and the action steps for how to make socialism viable here. But I don't think it's fair to say that were we to do it, everybody who is an upstanding good person offering a good service to the country would no longer have a livelihood because they would be taxed into, you know, poverty. Like that's obviously not what anybody wants, and I don't think that's at the heart of anything. But I think you recognize as well as I do, and maybe there's jaded and some pain when you talk about like, I don't have the sympathy for welfare or working class. I don't know what you want to name it.
Yeah, empathy. I'm on it. I have EBT. Fuck sympathy.
Okay.
I'm them. That's why I don't need to have sympathy. I'm them.
Okay.
I'm a single father on my own. My family's all gone. If I don't make money, my kids don't eat. I got 2 kids at university on full rides. My youngest daughter, who's black and Jewish mixed, I have full time. I'm a single
Right.
parent again. Been for a couple of years. I take care of everything. My mom's somewhere on the other side of the country. I don't know. She's a drunk piece of shit. Um, my dad, like I said, he was killed when I was young, and I found him shot to death. Uh, I don't need to have sympathy. I lived the life. That's what I'm saying. When I'm down there, I'm not paying off money. I'm not doing anything. I chose to teach where I taught. I taught in Pacoima. I taught in South Central. I taught in areas where I would be working with kids like me. Race and color doesn't matter. It's actual lifestyle. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, my problem with everything is people want to go by race, but it's not by race. It's by income. There's incomes. I am
I think you can
part of a
separate
poor
those.
class. Well, I'll tell you this. I am part of a class of poor people. Left, right, middle, and everything else, we all get treated the same, have forever. I know this shit. But I know what we have to really go through. I know the bullshit and the lies and everything else in the reality because I've actually had to grow up in it, live it, work through the system, be part of it, and everything else. Been arrested, been everything else, had knees in my neck. When I lived in Pacoima, I used to get pulled over all the time for buying drugs because I was going home in white. So they would rip me out of the car, throw me on the ground, slam me, everything else, and then realize I was just coming home from work or doing this. And yes, I did sell drugs. I used to sell fucking rock over at Haddon and Mercer Street. I grew up with dudes from Latin Times Pacoima, San Fernando Valley White Pride, Shaking Cats, San Fernando Midgets, Latin Time, or I mean, what was it? Pacas Treces, people like that. I used to work out at the gym on Woodman and Chase, Imperial Health Spa. If you ever been around there? Um,
I don't think so.
Okay, well, it's nothing but cops and drug dealers and gang members, and
Yeah.
that's all. Yeah, that's all it was. I used to sell steroids to all the dudes at Van Nuys, the cops, and they were all dirty. And this the thing is, I don't hate cops. There's a lot of bad cops out there, and there's some good ones. I don't hate teachers. There's a lot. It used to be there were some bad teachers and some bad cops. Now there's some good teachers and some good cops. That's just the way
Yeah.
society is. Just in society, there's some good people. Used to be some bad people. It's different. And what I'm trying to say is this: if if it was like I was telling you earlier, when people say I could go to the Bonaventure or I could go to the Hood and I fit in, that's bullshit. Then you're a fake because I can't fit in either place because I've been to both. I lived on New Hampshire and 112th. I lived on Haddon and Mercer. I grew up in these areas. I've also, when my dad was alive, we rolled around in limos and Rolls Royces. We used to stay in suites and this and that. When I was selling drugs, I used to do a lot of fun shit. I had brand new cars and everything. But for years and years, I straightened my life. Got my GED. I went to college. My first ex-wife, who grew up like you did, taught me I wasn't stupid, and she's who made me want to be a teacher. And then I made her become a teacher. And we're both still teachers, but and we're friends. Actually, we're gonna get together for my son's birthday in a few days, and we hang out. We would
Cool.
when they were younger, we would hang out. But as a family and stuff with my ex-wife now and my first ex-wife and all my kids. This is the thing: is what people don't like about me is I see it like this. What I like about Trump is just that the things he did do, like I said, the things I like that he did. I told you, the arresting pedophiles, the sex trafficking. That's a huge thing with me because I'm a believer in. I won't call it Pizzagate. I'm a believer in that comic ping pong pizza place fucking molesting kids. I'm a firm believer in all the evidence I saw, and I don't care about the conspiracies on that. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing: I don't believe a lot of things. Do you know how I got even into conspiracies? Was my show started out blowing them away, making fun of them, and then I did Bernstein. Did you ever read the book, the kids' book about the bears?
Berenstein Bear, of course.
What is it? What'd you call it?
Berenstein Bears.
Spell it. You're a teacher.
I think it's Berenstein.
Right. It would have to be Berenstein, right? What if I told you it was Stain? How would you sell it? What if I said it was Berenstain?
would spell it Stain.
right? Then you're an idiot because you've been spelling it wrong your whole life. Or some real shit's real. Now, you want to flip yourself out for real. This is where you really need to go if you want to open your mind. This is the simplest way to do it that the world's made possible. All you have to do is research that deeply. If you research that deeply, since you already spelled it, you already said what it was, we're both Jewish. There's no fucking way that either me or you would ever mispronounce Stain and give it a Jewish sound of Stein or Stein.
That's not. I don't. Okay, I feel like you just pointed to
Look up
like
the book right now.
small
Look up the book right
commonplace
now.
thing, and you're like,
Look
check
up
it,
the
like,
book right now.
No,
Look it up. I'm telling
Oh.
you, this is real shit. This will change your life then.
Dude, like I've had the high school kids come up to me and be like, Mr. Greenwald, we got to check out the Mandela effect. I swear. Like,
I know, but
You
this is what I'm saying. And that's what needs to be done. They have to dumb the actual thing down because this is just a mind opener. I get it. I went to disprove this. I did everything. I went and got a hold of a family member that had had stuff. I found a book originally from the 70s, and it's Stain.
what is your point with that?
Well,
Like,
how
so
would
what?
most of the world remember it wrong? The only way that works scientifically, all you have to do is research that. If you believe that there are timelines, if you believe any of that's possible, that the world works that way, or that life itself is working in timelines, things like that, then if somebody could change timelines, what happens is retrospectively everything changes, but certain things change slightly. So that's why they were talking about the Luke Skywalker thing where it said, Luke, I'm not your father. But now it says,
Right, the
no,
line is,
I'm not.
no, I am your father. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Or yeah, Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father. So
Yeah.
it's quite possible that some people got that wrong. Not everybody in the world was into Star Wars, but the people that were fanatics. With Berenstain, for most of us, it was the first books we were ever read. So it went into our subconscious before we could block it. They can't change that with timeline. It's just a simple fact of, I'm not going to say like, oh, it's, stuff. Why
Yeah,
can't I think of the fucking, you know what I'm talking about.
To
But
me, this, like, I feel an Occam's razor thing where I'm like, I feel like there are so many more simpler solutions available before the conclusion that you're drawing.
yeah, but there isn't. That's what I'm saying. I went through everything, years. I'm
Yeah,
not
like,
kidding you. I'm
like,
not kidding you. I made this
on-
obsession of mine. I wanted it to be
I'll
wrong.
just ask one because I've just got one in my head that just seems like, yeah, this makes it reasonable, and I'm just curious what you'll do
Don't
with
say
it.
they changed the book.
No, I'm not going to say they
Okay.
changed the book. No, but just that Berenstain is like a weird ass last name, but we hear tons of names over the course of our lives that sound like Stein. So that doesn't seem that unreasonable to me that our
Me and you
brain
both. Me and you
turned
both,
it
though.
into something that sounded more familiar.
Me and you both. And white people in Iowa. And people in Africa. And people in Sweden. And people in Switzerland. And people in Nigeria. And people in Hong Kong. All these people also did what
You're
you did.
making that make it sound as if it's more ridiculous when I'm like, yeah, look at the evidence of how common it is.
No. Everybody knew it as Berenstain. No white family in the Ozarks is going, all right, kids, come here and read the Berenstain
No, I
when
know
it's
it.
spelled AIN. But if you ask them, they know it was Stein because they thought the Jew bears, a lot of them called them, we used to be excited that they were Jewish bears. Other people would be like the Jew bear family.
Sure.
Why would they call it the Jew bear family if it was AIN? But this is what I'm saying. It's again, you could say whatever you want, just research it and let it change your life to realize that it is possible that there are people with an ability to fuck around, that there might be more to this world than we even know, that there might be more to everything than we even know, that there's maybe a reason why a lot of us resemble different animals, all different kinds. And then some of us fucking resemble aliens. There's a reason my grandma Romula Berger, who is a 6-foot Jewish woman with diamond blue eyes and veiny pale skin and reddish hair and a nose this big and a forehead this long, she looked like a goddamn lizard alien. Well, there was a whole thing about us being the alien people, the Jews, the Ashkenazis. because the Hebrewites were the original Jews. They say the Ashkenazis or the Armenians, all the people that look like us, like that with the big noses, with the light hair, the light eyes, from the mountains, from this and that. Those were all Jews that just dissipated. And so when you look at all these things that are right in front of us, you have to realize it's a bigger existence than we can imagine.
There are a number of documentaries that, like, even I think the standard one, like a bunch of people talk about Bilderberg, and then there's like Ancient Aliens, which I think has gotten played out. But like I remember when I saw it, there have been a couple that have absolutely made me be like, the way it's presented, what they're presenting. I mean, dude, even Change 9/11. I mean, it was what, like 2004 or something. I remember watching that one in high school, and there were a lot of compelling pieces in that to me too.
Wait, you think that the terrorists actually took down the buildings? You think terrorists aren't smart enough to just walk on fucking freeways with machine guns and take out way more people and cause way more havoc? They could have
No,
taken that same number of people and just gone and blasted some buildings.
no, I believe, like, yes, like that was a terror plot that came from Al Qaeda, but I also remember seeing documents at the time that made it look as though the U.S. government didn't do things that it could have to stop it.
Well, it's
And
not
then
that. It's simple.
parallels to like the Reichstag fire and like milking a catastrophe, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's simply, it's fine, but like structure-wise, it was a demolition. It came straight down.
Right.
So
So-
it's fine. It
so
was
there
built
were-
with the anti-aircraft metal.
There's, I think, a certain tone that comes from people who are at least, they've got a toe in the conspiracy universe, that looks at the people who are not in it at all with a condescension.
No,
And-
no, because I mean, yes. Wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. Yes. Yeah, it's the idiots who think that their conspiracy is so genius that you're a fucking moron for not seeing it. And they're idiots for being that way because you don't teach anyone anything. And you can't learn anything yourself.
It's on both sides.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to go back to what you said earlier when you equated me pointing to the certification as, like, my dad's right. No, my dad's right. Because beyond the institutions of credibility, you have like these random people who can post a documentary and you just got to check it out and decide how you feel. But the institutions of credibility, when you talk about, a Tucker Carlson versus a Trevor Noah, I see those as pretty much equivalent. Take your pick. But it's not fair to equate senators and representatives and journalists with the people behind, like, I was pointing to national intelligence servants whose only job is to certify. And I bring that up because within the conspiracy, like, info world, I do still see important distinctions in credibility that I see a lot of people just slashing and no longer observing. And when those people's voices and expertise and the professionalism of the procedures gets equated with a person writing an opinion, I think we do ourselves a huge disservice as people just trying to make informed opinions and decisions.
Now, I will tell you, I understand what you're saying. I will disagree in the fact that you're just talking about people. All you've said is people. You've given those people more credit because you've decided to. That's for you to do. I don't have to.
I didn't decide to give them credit.
No,
I decided that the system and the policies they abide by give them credit.
What I'm saying is, do you trust the government? Let me ask you that right off the bat. Do you trust the government?
Parts of it.
Which parts? Do you trust the Congress? Do you trust the Senate? Do you trust Nancy Pelosi, who got a woman's business taken away from her over death threats when Nancy went in there with a no-face mask and then blamed the woman and said she tricked her, and people gave the woman death threats and she had to walk away from her business, and she was a liberal woman and she made her lose her business because she didn't want to get in trouble. But do you trust Nancy Pelosi?
I think the key word on the end of that question is, do I trust Nancy Pelosi to blank? Because there are things I trust her to do,
What?
and there I don't trust her to do.
Do you trust? Okay. Do you trust her to do anything?
Yes.
Honestly, you trust her
Yes.
to be honest.
I do trust her to advocate on behalf for policies that I, in general, agree with, policies that I think are going to provide some support that we need and subsidize investments that I want to see our country make. Like, in general, the type of things I want her to go to bat for as Speaker of the House, I trust her to do. Like, do I trust her as a person? Like, she's no. Like, I expect
So you
her.
think she's not a good person, or you
No,
think
I
she's a
wouldn't
good
call,
person?
I
Would you say
wouldn't say
she's a
she's
good
not a good.
person?
I overall would say, like, I've seen her speak on behalf of as a mother, as a grandmother, and those pieces of her, I do see, like, seems like a good person to me.
But do you think she's a good person?
I will say yes,
Okay.
based on
Okay, fair enough.
those
So
pieces.
you don't have the problem with her allowing that woman to lose her business and take the fall when she walked in without a mask. You think that's
That sounds
okay?
pretty. That sounds shitty.
It's on video. It's not made up. It's not hearsay.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
like when Biden said the racist things. It's out of his mouth.
Again, like, if they're in public eye long enough, chances are they've got a shitty thing on camera.
No. She made all of us wear masks and said we couldn't go to hair salons. Then she got a private appointment at her hair salon, and then she turned on the woman. And the woman showed, and the woman showed the, or somebody got a hold of the videoed it or whatever. And
yeah, I remember
they
that.
said the woman set her up. The woman didn't set her up. How she called the lady for the appointment. How's she going to set her up when Nancy called? It was on record. So Nancy said, "Oh yeah, sorry," and then blew it off. The lady lost her business because she got death threats and everything else. They broke her windows. This was liberals and Democrats who went after a liberal woman, business owner. That's Nazi. That's Nazi shit. And they drove this woman out. That is dead on Nazi shit. They drove her out because she didn't do what they wanted. And Nancy got caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Gavin Newsom was just caught at a party with way more than 11 people. It was on the news and it was filmed.
That I saw too.
It's a bunch of rich people who think they get to do whatever they want. And you know why they hate Trump? Is because Trump is a rich dude who says, fuck you to all of them. That's why that's why the Republicans hate him. And that's why, you know why I like Trump? Because the scumbags like George W. Bush, that devil piece of shit who couldn't even raise his own daughters, was sitting there doing coke all the time. Okay, that piece of shit. Okay, Clinton, or I'm sorry, Republicans, him, Christie, all these scumbags turned on Trump. They hated him to begin with. McConnell's always fucking hated Trump. All of them have hated Trump. They had to back him because the people like Trump. They had to. Now they have the opportunity to fuck him over. But here's the thing. If the scummiest people in the world on the right and the left hate somebody, I tend to really find out why, and then generally will end up liking the person simply because he is an egotistical, blowhard, fucking
that's scummy
shithead, but he's not a disgusting, murderous scumbag. He didn't get Snowy White killed. Clinton did have her ex-boyfriend killed.
Yeah, but he did get a ton of Americans and our important allies killed out of a simple, impulsive decision to just pull everyone out of Syria. Like, that.
To take our troops back? I want all our soldiers with legs. I want American soldiers back here with legs. Fuck them.
No, I want America to be in a position where we are able to, like, the reason that we've got our soldiers over there in the first place is because we are so interconnected. Like, we've been playing global police for so long. And I get it, like, hey, we got to pull this shit in because we're setting ourselves up to just keep troops all around the world forever. There's no exit strategy. So I get, let's pull them back. But those troops being there affords us the geopolitical apparatus that has kept us, like, as an uncontested superpower for so long. We're not an uncontested superpower anymore. When
we
China,
weren't way before Trump. We weren't way before Trump. Let's be real. We're both teachers.
I disagree with you. I had a bunch of problems with
the economy. Doesn't disagree with me. The power doesn't disagree with me.
Obama with TPP.
The GDP doesn't disagree with me.
TPP what?
The The spending, the back and forth spending didn't agree. We weren't a superpower. We were buying way more from everyone else than we were selling. We were spending way more than we were receiving anymore.
We've been a superpower with a tremendous budget deficit for a long time. Like, that doesn't make us not a superpower. We were still much more secure. Our economic partnerships, our national and our defensive partnerships were much stronger. And when we pull out of places where, like, when Russia was willing to just straight up steal Crimea when we were right there, what are they going to do when we've pulled everyone back and when China is heralding the entire Asian economy into a market that we're not part of? We're not in any of those partnerships because we're going an America first route.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. Didn't the troops largely support Trump? Yes. Yes, their votes largely were for Trump. Isn't that funny? And the people who actually put their life on the line and see what's really going on, they voted Trump.
You got numbers?
I don't have them right here. I already did this. I mean, I don't have them right here. I'm sorry. You're right. I should have them. I already did this though. And they voted Trump, but it was also on the news. That's what they were talking about. And Latin people voted Trump. Socialists, anyone who came from a socialist country, so many people who came from Cuba and stuff voted Trump. You know who didn't vote Trump? Antifa type people, suburban people, people who've had it so easy for so long, they've never known. See, I'm 50 and I heard the stories from my grandmas about the Holocaust and shit like that and them escaping and things like that. I know what went on. Like, they told me the stories. I'm close enough. It's the same reason I understand that if you're a 40-year-old or a 40-year-old black man then or black woman, you had at some point you dealt with shit. If you're a 40-year-old black man or woman, you've dealt with shit at some point, and you know what the fuck slavery was about. You didn't go through it. You know what it was about, though, because you heard it. You heard it. Well, I heard it. The Holocaust was a lot closer. And I heard it, and I heard it, and I heard it. And I know what this is. And I know what's going on right now. And if you don't realize that this lockdown, based on the, again, just based on the simple fact that there are so many more things that kill us at such a higher rate that are also preventable without shutting down the economy, we could just let everyone who's going to die of COVID, but step over here and focus everything on, say, either inventing an alcohol that causes no problems and creates no violence, or banning alcohol. And even, wait, if you banned alcohol, you still wouldn't shut down the country and you'd save millions of lives a year. But they won't do that because it isn't about life. That's what I'm saying. If it was about life, cars would be made to go a certain speed and they'd be foam wrapped.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's about life plus economics, right? And in our country, economics gets to have the heavier dish at the scale.
Except if they choose to use it. That's all I'm saying. I called this shutdown in June. I said they are going to when they started letting us out, I said this is a lie. They're going to re-shut us down in the fall, 100%.
What feels so disingenuous and hysterical even to me about the parallel between lockdown, shutdown, and Holocaust stuff is what demonization is occurring at, like, it's not at an expense of a particular, like, I will say it's at the expense of a particular set of, like, small business owners, but part of why it's at their expense is because stimulus and relief packages have stalled, but there are efforts, and I don't see it being so explicitly on the backs of this disgusting criminal element of society that if only we purge, we will all be great again.
No.
You know, like, I don't see that.
Do you realize what I'm saying is what I was saying earlier? And it's nothing at all against you. God bless you for having the life you had. But you've never had to. Ever.
Had to.
Ever.
Had to what?
Anything. Meaning there has never been a time in your life where you didn't have at least a few people who could send you 15 grand, 10 grand, 5 grand in a second. Forget 50
That's not
bucks.
true.
Forget $10. So there was a time you couldn't call your dad and be like, I need $5,000 or I'm dead. And he wouldn't have sent $5,000 in a second.
Okay,
You
if
tell
it
me
were
your
my
dad would let
life
you
on the
die?
line,
What?
no, you're right. You're right.
Okay,
If it
now
were
if my life
life
was on the line, I'd just be dead. Now, but this is a lot of America, so it's nothing personal. And like I say, I love you. I think you're a great guy, and God bless the life you've had. I knew it for a minute. I have friends that grew up in it, and they're also some are like you. Some of their parents were Republicans, so they're like you, but completely the other way. Whereas I'm like, I've seen that easy life. I had the go kart, I had the big backyard, I had all the shit, and then I had nothing, and then I had gang violence, and then I had stab wounds, and then I had jail, and then I had things like that, and an ignorant shit, and all my own doing. No, like blame to anyone else and shame on you for this happening to me. No, what I'm
For
saying though is if you understood what it was like to not be able to feed your family, if you understood what it was like to look at your kids and going, we don't got nothing, man. But I've been there. I've been there where I had nothing. A couple Christmases ago, I'm doing really good now. A few Christmases back though, and for a couple of them, and especially when I just became a single dad again, my ex went on drugs and took everything. She was sick. She was on Vicodin from a bunch of fucking doctors that were just giving her Vicodin. Then they cut her off all of a sudden, and I knew none of this. And then she goes and smokes meth with her mom over in South Central, and I catch her and we're done, right? So now I've got to come back from that, but I'm trying to figure out how to feed my kids and do all this stuff. And I got assholes wanting to fuck with me. And you know what I can do though? I could slit their fucking throat. I could take a bat to their face and I got no problem with it. And every one of them would cow down and do anything I wanted if I did. If I El Chapo them, they fucking cry and do anything you want. If you don't El Chapo them, they try and fuck you over as much as they can. That's a lot of people that when you don't have money, that you deal with people with money. That's how they act a lot to you. You want to fuck them up, they'll do what they're supposed to do. If you let them think that they're safe, they will fuck you over every chance they get. Now, I went the route of not wanting to end up in jail for life, not wanting to do stuff and do have a better life and be more. Because I had the original upbringing in Granada Hills, where my mom and dad were the perfect mom and dad for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know my dad was in the mob. I didn't know my mom was an alcoholic. They were wonderful, we thought. They were so happy. Everyone was so happy. We played soccer, all this shit. Anyway, the point I'm making is when somebody builds a business that they built from scratch, when they put everything into it or they did all this and they lose it, it's detrimental. When people are dying inside their homes, when drug addicts are overdosing at insane rates, when suicides have tripled, do you realize that more people have died because of the lockdowns as opposed to who's died because of coronavirus? That is
I
a
don't
true
think that's a
fact.
fair statement.
No, it's 100. You can look that up. That is a
No, you
true,
can't.
based
No,
on the
you
increase
can't.
based
You
on last year, the increase
no,
of suicides, the increase of alcohol-related,
but
drug-related
we
deaths.
don't know how many people would have died from COVID if those restrictions weren't in place.
Well, you're right. I can't argue that per se, but we do know like places like Sweden or Russia that have no shit in place. Their mortality rate is in the couple thousand.
You trust Russia's numbers?
As much as I'll tell you what, I trust the place where an American had to flee to because they told us we were being listened to during Obama. Snowden had to leave the fucking country because he told America like a hero. He said, you're being listened to. And they called him treasonous. And they said, oh, he endangered people. No, he told us you are all being listened to.
Yeah.
Okay, no,
That's,
he's a
that's another
fucking hero. And he
There's
had to
another
leave to
tangent.
Russia, and Russia gave. So, yeah, I like Russia. And I know a lot of Russians, and I know people in Russia right now that I actually know a girl, Katya, who's in Russia right now. She lived here. She was married. She has a kid. She just went back to Russia for a little while. And she's showing me all this stuff. I don't know what you think of Russia, man. They got everything that's amazing. They are so modern and so up to date, and so beautiful, so gorgeous, and everyone's running around having fun. And you go look there, and everyone's running around together and stuff. And I swear to God, she's showing videos, and she's not a propagandist. She's a liberal, but she's just having fun in Russia. I'm looking at this, going, we're dumb." And that's what we've been taught our whole life. We've been taught that Israel is being blown up every 5 minutes by terrorists. Meanwhile, it's the same size as South Central that's happening. The rest of the country is beautiful and in peace. And it's just all bullshit. So Yeah, I do trust Russia as much as I trust America. I don't trust any governments. I don't trust politicians in general because once you get to a certain point, you've already done something to get there because they will keep you out. It's like in Hollywood. Look
I,
at all the rape that's come out now.
there are some pieces that you throw out that just sound like I've got no starting point even for it. But the the piece about the impact of the pandemic on like what it means for people who are
Hey,
declaring bankruptcy on small businesses. Um,
but what about me?
it,
Like, I didn't choose to be born to the parents I was born to. You didn't work hard to get the parents you got. We both
I
just were.
didn't.
We both just came out of vaginas.
Yeah,
You did nothing more than me to have a way better life. You did
yeah,
nothing more than me. I had to work twice as hard as you to even get what I got, to get my teaching credential, to get all that. I had to work twice as hard as you, and I had to do it with a kid. Again, no, I shouldn't say that. I didn't have to do it with a kid. I had a kid. My choice. I did it with a kid. But I'm saying I had to work twice as hard as you, but I didn't choose the vagina I came out of. I didn't choose the dick that shot to come into that vagina. Me and you both didn't have the same opportunities or an equal life. So for you to think you can understand what it's like to have to eat or to have to find a place to live or to stay in a hotel with your kids or to be on a bus moving your stuff or any of that stuff for nothing of your fault. Like when LA Unified wasn't paying us, I lost my place. I lost sorry, I lost my apartment, I lost my car and everything when the payroll crisis happened in LA Unified. And because I didn't have family to back me or help me, and nobody was going to loan me money or anything, and welfare, nothing would help, nothing, because I still was supposedly getting the checks. Me and my kids were just on the streets.
you're right. I don't
But I worked
have
full
those
time and I was a teacher. I was
experiences.
working full time as a teacher on the streets.
Uh, yeah, so you're right. I don't have those experiences. I don't I don't think that not having those experiences disqualifies or undermines my ability to offer an opinion on what I want to see for our country. And like
No, but what
this
the
great
pandemic's done, what
reset,
the lockdown does,
the
like how it
great
really
reset in
affects people.
particular seems like a set of solutions for exactly the crisis you are describing.
The
A
what?
long term one. I think we need immediate relief in the form of a stimulus package. And I have no idea what you're talking about when you
Well,
say that Trump has one.
let me ask you this. Well, okay. This is all I said is Trump offered a $3 million stimulus package a while back. Pelosi was at
You say
5
3
million.
million?
Let me tell you, 3 trillion. Sorry, I'm an idiot. 3 trillion.
I was
Okay.
like,
Pelosi was at 4 or 5 trillion. The Republicans were at 500 million. Trump said 3 million. I'm going to do an executive order, get it to the people. And then all this crazy shit went on, right? He was trying to get it out to us. It's in the news. It's this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to tell you, man. What's flipped me out. Again, I was anti-Trump when he started. It was the people who went so hard against him that I know were all suspected pedophiles, things like this that are suspected in these. Again, if you can explain to me why Tom Hanks became a citizen of Greece, the one country that doesn't extradite, when I've been calling that motherfucker a pedophile forever. And again, there's another son of a bitch whose son is a rapper. That Chip piece of shit. He's a fucking rapper. You don't think that's the worst appropriation ever? Tom Hanks' fucking kid being a rapper?
I have no idea what he raps about, dude.
Right. He raps about bitches. That's what he raps about. Shit like that. Yeah. Yeah.
All
Super.
right, little Hanks.
That's what Tom Hanks gave to the world. But when you're a freaking pedophile, that's what your kids are. And see, now I know I know like people like Pauly Shore. I know that they were molested when they were young. I know this for a fact. I was at the Comedy Store. I grew up, I came up in there. I'm on the wall there, things like that. I've been in Hollywood. I've seen this stuff. I know what goes on. But I'm telling you, like, this is insanity when you realize to the levels that this shit goes on to, and you realize how deep it is. So what I'm saying is everything I feel comes from what I've actually seen in front of my face take place. I knew what's his name? God damn it! Why can't I think of his name? Our senator, fucking from Pacoima. Can't think of his name right now. God damn it, Mexican dude. Fuck's his name?
I don't know.
I
Not a
used to
current
golf
one.
with them. I'm an idiot. So much weed. Um, but fucking horrible people. You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying is I knew these people are horrible, and so like I never dealt big drugs. The most I ever did was like an ounce of coke. I'd buy it, cut it up, sell rocks, sell this, sell that when I was a kid, and you know shit like that. I was never big time or anything, but I hung out with dudes that were fucking big, and I grew up there, and they loved me because I was white, spoke Spanish, and I never tried to be anything but be Jewish and white like I was, and I was always cool with who I was. And see, that's what I'm saying is I'll get around people, and they think I'm the same white guy that they're meeting. Like you're a fun dude, you're a nice dude, you'll rap, you'll do this, you'll do that, you're cool with them. If they're saying something, you're not going to call them on it hardcore. But I'll call a
That's
motherfucker
what
on
it
shit.
is.
Well, like I will call somebody on anything they say. Do you remember what's his face, the principal?
Williams.
Nice guy.
Oh,
Total
maybe you're thinking of
abusive.
someone else then.
What? No, same guy. You guys were all, you guys hated him because he was a terror. But he was only a terror because you guys didn't tell him to shut the fuck up. I told him, hey, bro, don't fucking yell at me ever again. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. And never, ever said shit to me again. He wanted me to come on full time. I didn't come back. I didn't dig what he was doing because I don't believe in intimidation. You don't ever try and intimidate kids. It's the worst way to teach.
Yeah.
And then he tried and intimidate, and he bullied you guys.
I know. It was rough.
But see, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would die right there before I got bullied. See, Marcos doesn't talk to me or anything because of my views. He liked me, but he doesn't talk to me because I won't change my views. But I didn't do that to him because of his views. But I find his views just as ignorant as he's finding mine. Only he's deemed his superior.
Damn.
So what happened?
In the middle of you two.
What?
Because I want to be in the middle of you two. Because Van and I, like, a man came to a party I had.
Oh, he's great. I think he's a nice guy. He's used to you, not me. I've lived a way rougher life than that motherfucker could ever imagine. He might get pulled over because of his dreads and this and that. He grew up in a sweet life. I grew up in a shit life, and I got pulled over because of where I lived.
David, what connection do you make between the views you have today and the violence and turbulence that you had? Because you keep coming back to it.
Because
and
it's the
pointing to like
reason it's so important is because where people like where he's thrown off by me is because he's used to you. If he says something that's just kind of ridiculous, but it's about black people or this and that, you might avoid the comment if you disagreed completely. If it was a bunch of black people sitting there, like the ones from that school that would have jumped on you in a second. I'll say it 7 times at the top of my motherfucking voice because I live free. 100%. I will die. I just had a security guard tell me I couldn't bring my scooter into Ralph's. The security guard was about 6'6", 300 and something pounds. This Latin dude, huge. I go, no, I actually can. I use it to help me walk and shop. I go, I don't ride it. It's off. He goes, no. I go, no, yes, I can. I go get a manager. He goes, well, I go, no, you have the problem. You go get a manager and this and that. He comes, I go, get 6 feet away from me now. But he did because he was coming up on me. He was trying to intimidate me. I was scared to death. But I'd sooner die than back down. That's where it comes from. Is because I had to grow up in it, because I lived it. I never knew this privilege for being white. I knew getting called shit for being white. I knew getting pulled over and pulled out of my car. I knew getting searched for no reason and this and that for being white. That's what I knew. I also know that happens to black people all the fucking time. Not LeBron James, that lying piece of shit, but tons of people who went to the school we taught at. Those kids we saw constantly at the Louisiana Chicken, the cops pulling over any car with 3 black men in it and searching them totally illegally all the time. I don't ever deny what has happened to black people in this country is atrocious. Worse, what's happened to black women are the worst treated people in the world. Women are the worst treated people. Black women are the truly worst treated people in this world. And that's the fact. So I believe that nobody has shit to say about anything until we treat women equal to begin with. But my
I think you
endpoint,
might be out of a podcast then, man.
the what? No, it would be a dream. Like I say, I have 2 daughters and a son, and I raise them exactly the same. I tell them all 3, you get out there and you fuck women. No, I'm kidding. I raise my son and my daughters the same. I don't differentiate between them.
Hey, sorry, Burger. I just realized my audio.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm about
Yeah,
to
we've
die.
been forever. Listen.
Yeah, man, we've been rolling.
Okay. I would love to do this again though. I gotta tell you. I enjoy this because, like I said, we're 2 people who started out in the same place. We actually both ended up teachers. But my point is I look at everybody, I look at you as seeing what you think as experts and everything else as right. I see that as that's your feeling. That's your opinion. That's all you have. Nobody has facts. Everyone has an opinion. A fact is just an opinion. Some people accept it. That's just that simple. Some people still haven't accepted. Yeah.
If that's the world that you live in, then you can't differentiate up from down. You've got no better indication to go this way or that. And that to me is so anti-intelligence, anti-science. And I'm not saying that means that the people that I'm calling experts have a science or have algorithms that guarantee things. But when you equate facts to opinion or just call like these people who have rigorous practices and disciplines that they have inherited with methodologies to increase credibility, that's so dismissive to say like, yeah, well, you've got yours and I've got my people.
You're saying science isn't wrong all the time? Like science hasn't continually been proven wrong?
But there is a method for correcting and revising and actually knowing.
So if, let's say somebody has a scientific discovery, that's a fact, but then it turns out that it's wrong, then it becomes just that was their opinion.
No.
Oh, it's still a fact? It's still a fact. No, even if it's wrong, it's still a fact?
I feel like this is, again, a straw man, like with socialism. Like when we look at, say, Newton, who proposed an incredible new set of physics that then got supplanted by Einstein. Okay, so Newton was wrong about some stuff. So was that an opinion? No, it's a model that is less accurate than a better one that we were able to get to. But it still did a lot of good. Like
it was a segue to what might have been right. Opinion. It's a segue to what might be right. We still don't know because we're not done.
But might be right, like that. And I
when
feel like that language means that there's a right at the end of it and everything else wasn't. I would just say more effective.
But when you said up and down, what is, you just assume you've gone along with what people told you was up and people told you was down. That's all. That, I mean, I'm saying but to say that you have some deeper knowledge that up is up and down is down than anyone else has, that's the insanity, is to think that your right is right and other people's right is wrong.
No, it's the simple labeling of your and my. It's not. It's the agreement that there is a place that is not about your and my. And yes, we've all had the classic schooling and like everything's subjective and my blue isn't your blue and whatever.
Yeah.
But there is, like, when Kellyanne Conway did Alternative Facts in 2015, 2016, that stirred up some shit because that was bonkers at the time and it's not bonkers anymore. But it should be bonkers.
Why?
Like, alternative facts is bullshit.
But why do you call them alternative? They're just other people's facts. You call them alternative because they're not yours.
No.
That's what I'm saying. You're just blanketly. Did you disprove her stuff? Did you disprove her stuff? Did you disprove anything personally.
Of hers?
Yeah.
No.
So you don't know anything then. You're just saying someone else said they disproved it, so you agree with them. But you weren't there to see them
You're
disprove
making
it,
a
and you didn't.
strange
No. What I mean is,
argument
what I mean.
logically.
Okay, you are going by what people tell you is happening. You didn't see
No,
this stuff.
that's
You
not
saw it.
true,
You
David.
saw all this stuff happen.
When you look at reports,
Yeah.
I mean, some of this stuff comes down to numbers. Like if we're going back to election certification and looking at
So
numbers
you
by
know that they
district, by
counted
counties,
right. You know
they
counted
literally
right.
have YouTube live streams of the ballot counting process. You
Yeah,
can't
they also
get
have
more
YouTube things of
transparent.
them cheating. They all have their stuff. What I'm telling you is this. Not all of them were filmed, if that's what you're saying, by any means. But let me just tell you this, though. You're saying you know the election was fair.
Beyond anything of the election, I am saying that it is not the same to call someone's fact over there an opinion, and that there is a common ground of validity and soundness that doesn't always produce a right result, but is much more trustworthy than not using it. And whether
Well,
that's
it's
a
like flat
scientific
Earth. I don't
method
believe in
of
the flat Earth.
experimentation. Okay.
But you know what? I don't discredit the fact that they could be right. Because I haven't been to space. Right. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference. I've lived a life where I stopped thinking I knew anything. I know nothing. It's a huge world. I'm 50. Things have happened where I went, oh shit, I thought I knew things. I mean, think of it this way. I've made it through a life that a lot of people don't. I'm here. I'm the same teacher you are and everything else. So I'm not an idiot completely. But I'm saying I've realized I don't know anything. But the people who think they know stuff and they trust these people because they're their people. What I'm saying is you weren't there. You're not part of their group. You weren't in these things. You haven't been to space. You don't know shit for real firsthand, nor do I. Nor do the people who claim flat Earth, nor do the people who claim round Earth. Now, there's
Then
got to be
stop
some
talking and
people who
don't
know.
make any opinions ever. Like
What? No. Opinions are fine. That's what I'm saying. We can go for it. We can call things fact and all that. That's all fine if we decide it's a fact. But when you decide something's a fact, you've taken someone's opinion or thought and you've made it fact, like the color blue. Someone went blue and everyone went, that's blue. But it isn't. It was just their thought or opinion that it was blue. So we went with it and made it fact. All facts were opinions, are theory, thought. Then once they're no longer right, they go back. They were theory then. They were theory wrong. They weren't fact. Now, once they're disproven, if they were never proven, then they're proven to not be fact. But
yeah,
this is something as ultimate fact is near impossible. Well, it's beyond because it's beyond the scope of tunnel thinking of what we've been taught. It's not also into the realm of tinfoil hats or fake moon landings. It's into the realm of just doing like this. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that the moon landing was fake. I doubt it, but I don't know for sure it wasn't. For me to ever think that I'm so mighty that I know for sure that the moon landing was real, or I'm so brilliant that I know for sure it wasn't, I'm not in those loops. If you are, I'll suck your dick for the money you got. Because if you're in those groups that know whether that shit's truly real, you're in the zillion-dollar fucking airs. And
it's not. And I feel like that position is this really.
But how do you know any of this is true?
One.
But did you see?
It's an overwhelming confidence. You know, just like in statistics, you have confidence intervals. You don't have statisticians
that's what right-wing Christians have. Like overwhelming confidence.
Yeah,
in God. That's like their belief in God. They know it's a fact.
No,
they know it's a fact. They know they're.
Like you keep
so you're dismissing their knowledge that God's a fact.
But
I know God's not a fact.
Pointing. How? Tell me.
I know God's not a fact.
Okay, I'm with you there.
But you don't know He isn't, and they think He is, and they have all the proof they need, and it works for them in their mind because they're right and everyone's wrong.
There's literally a science around non-falsifiables. Popperian science, Karl Popper, essay in the 1930s. If you can't falsify something, it's not scientific. So like the example that you just gave, like
if you can't disprove it, I'm not.
Oh, it's neither, is what I'm
That's
saying.
a separate realm.
But it's neither.
But I feel like you're calling into question the mere existence of objectivity, which is
No,
really, and that just trips me out because that Garen Brooks dude, the guy who posted the YouTube video on the Great Reset, is deeply aligned with the Rand Institute and Ayn Rand's policies. I mentioned that in one of the comments, who, like, literally one of her chapters, I could just see her pulling her hair out listening to this as she praises Aristotle as being the person who literally took humans out of not knowing which way and presenting an initial system of logic that gave us a sort of direction, something to trust that was more than just random perception.
Give us this. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Hey.
Give us this. I mean, that you like it because it worked for you. That's what I'm saying. Right vagina, right penis.
Okay, so
but wait, you have to understand. In your world, okay, again, right penis, right vagina, wrong penis, wrong vagina here. And let me tell you, that's what I'm saying. Is me and you, same human being. We even look a little similar. We have the same sort of aesthetics. We're both very Aryan-looking Jews.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing, the difference is right vagina, right penis, wrong vagina, wrong penis. Your life was a different way to look at things. My life went a different way of looking at things. But the fact is, one thing that tends to possibly differ me from a lot of people on the right and the left, and why I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm a Trump-publican. I made up that phrase, by the way, a Trump-publican. And it's because I am okay with Trump. He's not my leader. I said I don't follow him. I don't support him. I don't support anyone or follow anyone. I take care of my kids. I live my life. Fuck with me. You might get shot. Need help. I'll probably feed you. That's what I'm saying. I don't film shit. I feed people around here all the time when I have extra breakfast, this and that. I don't ever film it. I don't need to be seen doing this. I put waters out in the summer. We freeze waters, me and my daughter, from the it's tap water. It doesn't cost me, but I fill up empty bottles. I freeze them in the hot summer. I put them out there for people to have. I don't have to film. I don't have to do. I just live life and I take care of people. I live my life. I take care of my kids, but I don't think I know shit that I'm not involved. Like, I have my opinions. I instinctually, I changed my view about Trump because of the things he was doing, because of the economy.
Is that what it is? Is that what your provocative posting is about? Like, do you just want to get people in the comments to act like they know shit so that you have a chance to show they don't?
No. I literally want people to wake up. I would rather see this country, honestly, and this is going to probably bug you, but again, you don't pay my rent. I don't care. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I need not a friend in this world, because friends are absolutely useless. My family's what I take care of. My kids, again, I got 2 on full rides. They're happy. They're cool. They're amazing. They've done great. Had great lives. I've given them so much more than I ever had, and I'm thrilled to do it. Now, what I do want is I want people to wake up. I want people to realize that this is a complete income motivated thing. You have the haves and the have-nots. That's it. Once people in certain tax brackets realize who we are and we get together, the whole lot of you are fucked, and we're getting everything, because there's no reason you guys have extra bedrooms. There's no reason you guys have the big pool with the jacuzzi. There's no reason you have 17 acres or 500 acres or 1,000 acres. There's no reason you have the huge house, you go to the private schools, or any of this bullshit because you came out the right vagina one after another. There's no reason for that. So when all the poor people, white, black, Latin, Asian, Middle Eastern, Hindu, Indian, everything else, all that shit, when we all get together and realize that we ain't hated each other never, and we've just been told to hate each other. We've always gotten along. We've lived in the same neighborhoods. It's just that there are sects of people who are insane and fucking whack jobs. Yeah, there's white supremacist idiots, and there's all kinds of other idiots in this world of all different races. But the majority of us, we've grown up together, and we didn't hate each other, and we didn't shit on each other, and we didn't oppress each other or do any of that. And so when we get together, it's all over. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm about. I'm not about Trump. I just prefer Trump over any of these other people. like Kamala Harris, who's married to a white big pharma guy. He's a big pharma lawyer. Biden, but I mean, his whole family, that whole thing is just blah. And again, Trump's no better, but he's always said, I'm a dick. Trump's always been a dick. The guy did say grab him by the pussy. He said all those things. And any dad who didn't tell his son, it's the old tale from Colors, the movie. Hey, son, the bull. Dad, let's run down there and fuck them all. No, son. Or let's go run down and fuck a bull or a cow. And the dad goes, no, son, let's walk down and fuck them all. That's no different than grab him by the pussy, but it was funny in the movie Colors, horrible when Trump said it. Every man has said some dumb shit like that. I don't raise my kids to be like
Disagree.
that. So I've changed. Well, I've changed my son because I'm from a different era. I'm from an intelligence of you don't talk to women like that. Me and Trump aren't the same age.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of feeling like maybe there does need to be a part 2, because
you do this. Look up
be up on the
Berenstein. Look up Berenstain first.
I did.
Look up the real thing, because if you can realize that part, like if that hits you, if it doesn't, so what? Again, I'm not God. I'm not telling you if you don't get Berenstein, you're a dummy and you're wrong. No, this is my thing, my opinion, that this is true. So to me, this is a fact of what happened with Berenstain. I believe in it. I believe in the Mandela effect and what happened with that. But I don't go into every single other thing as well. I've seen a lot of them. Some I believe, some I don't. The point I'm making is, yeah, but look deep into it, because once you realize that, you realize, oh shit, the whole group's fucking with us. So my feeling with Trump was, at best, he's the renegade. That's all I'm hoping for. They're all horrible. They all scare me to death. At best, I'm hoping, because they all hate him, that either he totally fucked us and he just made us all hand over New World Order, or he is going to be the hero and he's doing good. Again, it could be either. You can't possibly know one way or the other, nor can I. We're not in that bracket. To think we could is insane. But research it. Let's both come back with some serious facts on this, because I do want to talk about it deeply. I think you're very interesting. And like I say, you offer the idea. I know that if I'd had your life at 30, I'd have been sitting right where you are, saying the same thing instead of driving around with guns and causing trouble. So yeah,
let me end on that one, because this piece about I think my life, like there are plenty of pieces when you're talking like right vagina, wrong vagina. I just like I get that. A lot of fortune and privilege that
totally
I
lucky. I mean, understand, 100% lucky. You were just lucky to have the right parents.
What, like a lot of what you were just saying makes me feel like you would be the person to advocate the most strongly for this great reset, because if you can see behind me, like the upbringing that I did have, getting to stay in Granada Hills until I got to go to a private college in Atlanta for 4 years. I'm in an apartment. I'm a person whose parents have the pool and the jacuzzi, and who on my own at 30,
I guess the pool and jacuzzi
struggles to have my like 1-bedroom apartment with my cat. And I would say it was in the last 5 years that I really reconciled myself to, like, as a kid, I looked at what my parents had and I was like, I will go farther than what they have. And it was in my, early to mid 20s, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, like, no, not unless I do something like that is not in this trajectory. And I say that because I see it as part of a trend that if we keep going how we're going, there won't be a right or wrong vagina. I mean, I think with white supremacist society, it's going to be, there are going to be privileges that come with whiteness.
Though? That's what I'm saying. Like, you say
it
that
means,
because you didn't grow up in any white supremacist society. You grew up in
no, we all did. I call it a white supremacist society because if you look at the levers of power, and when I say levers of power, I specifically mean criminal justice, I mean entertainment industry, I mean professional owners, business owners, leaders of the military, teaching workforce. All of them are 80 or 90% white.
Yes. They are the rich dickholes whose parents were rich and they're all rich and they're a bunch of twatty dickholes. I agree. Wait. I 100 and they
Sure.
inherit money. They inherit money and houses, and some of them might even do menial jobs. They still have about $1 million of inheritance coming at some point. Now let me just explain this though. Yeah, totally. But what I don't know about is these white supremacists everyone's talking about that are so scary, because where did you grow up that you ever saw these white supremacists? I'm just
Well,
curious. Forget this.
but
Forget the fact that
it's
every black guy
it's
has
the
a story
same
about how they were
parallel.
chased, including
Y-
Chris Rock, who was called out and called a liar by his own neighbors and proven
Okay,
wrong.
if you had never seen rape, a rape in person, would you say the same thing about rape culture that you just said about white supremacist culture?
What do
Like
you
just because you've never seen the incident that's almost at the heart of it, it seems like the whole rest of it got invalidated.
What do you mean?
I
No,
mean,
I'm
you're
saying,
kind of saying like,
what white supremacy? You talk about these white supremacists. You mean just rich white dudes, and
no,
their friends
no,
are
no,
rich
no, no.
other people. They're all rich people
So
hanging out. What white
no, it's
supremacy are
not
you talking about?
just
San Fernando Valley
people.
white pride?
It's the entire psyche that's reinforced by the combination of what we see, what we hear, what's around us, what's advertised to us. That's one element. But then
Yeah.
when we also look at, I think it's Audre Lorde who had the comment that, you know, the heart of racism is always going to be born in the violence on bodies. That's what's at the heart of it. So I feel like the criminal justice is probably the place where all of those things make it possible for, say, Trump to take out a full page spread and an ad calling for a death sentence on the Central Park Five. Like, does that connection make sense?
How about this connection? I don't like that you have invalidated my struggle, my suffering, my everything, because you had a privileged white life. Your white guilt, you're trying to, no, I'm not mad, of course, but you're pushing your white guilt onto me when I don't have any. I was
I don't
never
feel
brought up,
guilty about
I
being
was
white.
never brought up being taught anything negative. I also, for the majority of my life, was living with everybody who was Latin and Black, Asian in Pacoima. I lived right on Beachy Van Nuys area. So I was right there between Latins, Blacks, everything else, who are very segregated. Now, so I saw the racism and hatred between Salvadorians and Mexicans, Guatemalans. I saw the hatred and racism between Africans and Blacks. I saw that too. So I saw hatred and racism. I saw so much racism toward myself for just walking home white from school, shit like that. So I saw it all, but I never have thought that, oh, black people don't go. No, I'm sorry. When I was a kid, when I was like, 11, 12, 13, 14, right in those ages, I literally thought there was no white racism, because all I ever saw was people talking shit with me for being white.
Mhm.
But I wasn't the white kid who tried to fit in. I was the white kid who was down to fight in a minute. So
Sure.
I ended up making a lot of friends because I wasn't. So I was never also the white guy who got made fun of. I was never the white guy who was the white guy. I was Pelo de Fuego. They knew me as Red. That was it. But
Wait,
nobody
what was the
was
name? What was the name?
Pelo de Fuego, Hero of Fire.
Hey, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
but they used to call me Red, and or that. And so it was like go back and forth. And see, that's what I'm saying is I learned to speak Spanish on the streets. That's why everything was way that I everything was ¿Qué ondas, güey? ¿Cómo estás, güey? ¿Qué onda? ¿Tienes Mendes? Shit like that. And you learn to talk that. But what I'm saying is, so for me and a lot of other white people I knew, and a lot of white people in the Ozarks, and a lot of white people in Redding, and a lot of white people all over this country, we're fucking hungry, we're starving, we're fighting, we're shooting, we're struggling, we're suffering, we're being treated like shit by the police, we're being arrested for no reasons, we're being pulled over for no reasons. My kids, I've been handcuffed when I had my braids in front of my kids for fucking nothing. My kids have had, my daughter, my half black daughter was crying in the car when some motherfuckers arresting me for saying something racial that someone yelled by. What? My half black daughter in the car? And then they let me go when they saw her, but she was in there crying because they didn't see her at first in the back. It was just but shit like this constantly. So for me, it belittles everything I went through when somebody with privilege says white people. There's no blanket white people. There's you guys who grew up with money. There's us guys who grew up without it. That's what there is. You guys are the ones taking advantage of black people. You guys are the ones living off the backs of slavery. You guys are the ones living off the backs of migrant workers and maids. I guarantee you had a maid. Guarantee you. Correct?
We had a what?
A maid. Yes, you did. Your
when I
eyes
was
already
young.
said you did. Yeah.
When I was young, we had a
Okay.
nanny.
So no. You had a slave because you had someone cleaning up after you and doing your shit. You see what I'm saying? You're not being mean, but you're the white dude, not me. Not me.
Yeah.
We lived
No,
next
dude.
to the maids. We lived next to the maids.
You like.
I had a maid.
You don't get
I had a
to
maid as a neighbor.
back out of that. Like, you don't get to back out of
I don't back out of shit.
inheriting.
I'm a Jew. I wasn't even in the country.
You said
When
you
we
weren't
came
in
to
the country.
white people were treating us like shit. So how you can throw me in with anything, not even historically, you can't include me historically. My people were either in Monrovia, in Africa, in Romania, in Russia, and in Germany.
I absolutely include you. I do not include your own experience. I am not.
Or
saying
my
you did
family. We
not
weren't
get
here till the
shit
19. My
harder.
family wasn't here till the 1940s. I mean 1930s. My family wasn't even here till the 1930s. My great grandma Rom was a single mom when my dad was 8. So in the 1940s, maybe 51, 52, my grandma was a single Jewish mom living outside of Fairfax over in LA in a 1-bedroom with 3 kids.
Okay.
So no, I'm not included anywhere in your scenario. We weren't here during slavery. We weren't here. We weren't part of the anti-civil rights. My dad walked us through the busing protest lines into school because nobody was stopping my dad, and walked us right in. And we went to school during the busing protests. So nothing in my life has ever had to do with anything. And I grew up in those areas. I grew up broke. I grew up in a broken family. I grew up in violence. I grew up being arrested. I grew up being pulled over and cuffed and questioned and everything all the time. So no, I that's what I'm saying. It does me a disservice when people who have white guilt or have white privilege want to include my existence in that life because I didn't get to enjoy it. If I get to enjoy it, if you want to switch lives with me for like 5-10 years and I get to go back and relive that fun, I will take the blame of being that. But we didn't have maids. We didn't do any of that. We didn't have gardeners. We took care of our own
But
shit.
it's not about that. I mean, like,
Well, it
that's
is.
absolutely a piece
That's
of
the
it that
privilege.
I had. That's part of how it came out for me.
That's the
Part
privilege.
of how it came out for you was, the shows that were big on TV, the movies that came out.
What did it do for me? None of them represented me. The only show that ever represented me was fucking Good Times.
Yeah.
What white show represented me? Silver Spoons? What show did you
I
like?
don't know
The
the
Brady
shows
Bunch?
from then.
Yeah, you must
But,
have loved
does
Silver
that- does
Spoons.
that
You must have
really,
loved
like-
Silver Spoons. It looked like your living room.
Do you really
What white
like?
show
There's
represented
so
me?
many basic premises to it.
What white show represented me in a good way?
I have
A
no
poor,
idea. I
white,
can't
trashy
tell
looking
you.
kid.
But you were able to
But you
look
said it.
at shows and see representations
No.
of various white people.
Not like me,
Maybe
though.
that didn't count for much.
They could
I
see
don't know.
various black people on shows that were just bad stereotypes. Same with me. You know who okay, Hill Street Blues. I recognize Dog on Hill Street Blues. If you remember Hill Street
Okay.
Blues.
Yeah.
That's why Dog, he was the trashy fucking undercover guy who smoked and drank and everything else. That's the people I associated with, the bad stereotypes. No, I didn't have the same people you had. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people like you try to include us in your lives, and we're not all the same. Our
there's
faces
like
look the
that
same, but our
lumping
lives aren't the
thing
same.
that lumping thing you're doing right there is weird because the people that I'm talking to who share this are most often going to be from working class families of color.
Yeah, no. They don't count in accusing me of shit. If somebody else is accusing me of shit, tell me about a white person who grew up in my life
Yes,
that
there was
agrees
never
with
an
you.
accusation.
No, but I'm saying a white person who grew up in my life that would agree with what you're saying, show me them. Of course, you're talking the people of color you're talking to. That's what I'm saying. They adore you because you go right along with everything they think too. But again, then there's a lot of the people of color because I'm of color. We're all of color. So there's a lot of other human beings in this world because that's what the race we are is human. There's a lot of other humans that are darker, lighter, this and that. They also agree with me that these privileges are only for people with money. See, a lot of the people growing up in South Central and things like that, they're not digging the whole movement because it's not helping them. Their neighborhoods are no safer. Their schools are no better. Their opportunities have grown to nothing. But a lot of rich Black people have gotten publicity. A lot of organizations have made billions of dollars. But the kids we teach didn't get a drop of fucking help. It's like when degenerates dropped 500 grand
No,
into the
dude.
school.
We had
But you didn't
3
give a
years
shit
of
what happened to the school.
construction outside.
What?
We had 3 years of construction outside.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. Nothing's changing. Nothing. They're running a fucking subway through there and everyone's going to get cancer. Nobody gives a fuck and nobody will. But people are going to come out who have privilege and they're going to go, "Huh, huh, 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 huh," instead of fixing the real problem. You want to fix the problem. You want to do a appropriation or any of that shit. You want to make it. You know what you do? You make South Central safe for the kids. Right there. You just
Yeah.
make it.
To me, I come on a show and talk with somebody that I normally wouldn't talk with.
Right.
That's at least the step that I'm taking right now.
It's a help.
Because, you know, I think part of what you're speaking to, there's a piece of it that I struggle to address because I don't live it, and yet I know that it is present and it affects things like, again, coming just back down to Great Reset. And I feel like what initially got us started is just a conversation about like best way forward. So
Wouldn't the best
I
way
want to say
forward to be a reset in getting rid of all the government and revoting everyone? Wouldn't that be the best way? The entire government has been a mistake.
no.
And revote everyone in. Why?
It would not be the best way because nobody would be able to do a clean slate.
Why? You get everybody who's in politics now, you get rid of them, and you have new people run. That's how you have a reset. You bring a whole fresh approach to it. All democratic elections.
That doesn't exist. Like
right, but
that just like that.
Nothing existed until it did.
Yeah, no, obviously, but like, that sounds so poisoned, right? Because it would just take so much agreement. But
agreement.
That's like, dude, that's starting a huge new thing.
Okay, yeah. We'll talk some more. We'll talk some more. But like,
yeah,
like
man.
I say, my point is, like I say, I did grow up in your life. You for a minute, for enough time to know it. I don't believe you've ever lived my life to know it. I have walked in your moccasins. My moccasins have only had a pair of feet in them, and they're mine. I say that because to think you could ever understand what somebody goes through who goes without eating, who walks home and stays home alone for days on end, who's on the streets at 14 or 12 or 10, who's prostituting at 15, to think you could ever understand somebody who's selling crack out of their mouth or any of that stuff is possibly part of the problem, I feel. Now, again, like I said, I wouldn't dare to assume your life had I not lived it in the same area, same soccer place, same schools, type of thing. But that's all I'm saying. So I would like to have the part 2. I would ask though, and I'm going to do a lot more research on my end for your stuff to be more knowledgeable about what you were saying. I will ask that you do research just the Berenstain thing, because if what I see you end up seeing, it'll just change your perspective on everything as it did mine. That was my turning point with most things in life. It changed my whole perspective on the world. If it does that to you, great. If it doesn't, I could just be a whack. I could be right. Everything's what it is, like I say. But I ask that, totally research it because I know you are intelligent. And either way, you're going to do it in an intelligent way. Whatever you come up with will be what you come up with. And that's why I say, that's how I always look at things. I can't know that you're right or wrong. If I did, I promise you, dude, I would spend so much time just fucking and eating and spending money, fucking, eating, spending money, and I'd fuck in every direction. And because I would have so much money because I knew everything. But I don't. I know nothing. Last words?
I already said them. So for right now, I'll just
Beautiful.
say that
We are
sounds
doing
good.
part 2. We are doing part 2. Let's set it for about 2 weeks.
Cool.
Beautiful. I appreciate you very much, Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
Jordan Greenwald, I do. I truly appreciate you. And I'm going to tell you this. If more people were like you, even though I don't agree with 99% of what you're saying, if more people were like you, and I do agree with the way you are, things would get solved in a better fashion. Because regardless of whether you agree or not, you're amicable and you're discussive.
Yeah, I want to echo just the appreciation. It's been a long time since I've had a good conversation with disagreement in it. You're probably the only person I know who, I imagine you voted for Trump in 2020. I think that makes you like the only person I'm talking to about politics who voted for
perfect.
Trump. And that just feels healthier than it was, even 3 days ago. So yeah, man, thanks for having the show, and thanks for the invite.
Jordan, thank you so much. And I will talk to you very soon and we'll set that up. Again, guys, Jordan Greenwald, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, man. See ya.
All right, guys, I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you check this out. Hopefully you share it. It went long, but I thought it was a great discussion. I thought it was a fantastic discussion in the sense of maybe I'm getting a better perception of what that side's thinking. Maybe that side's getting a better idea of why they're thinking what they're thinking. But do keep it in mind, if you haven't experienced someone's life, it is hard to understand why they think the way they do. Like I say, I can't understand why somebody would want to hurt anyone for having an abortion or even care what they're doing with their body. But the people who do care totally understand why they're fanatical about it. Everybody tends to understand why they're doing what they're doing. They just don't try to understand why other people feel and believe the way they believe. Now, if the way you believe is it's okay to force sex upon people, if the way you believe is it's okay to beat kids or beat people because you want to, then I'm not okay with the way you believe because it hurts people. I stand against that vehemently, and I will call you wrong for hurting or impinging on anyone's right to be. However, anything short of that, I don't say anything. I will leave you guys with this. And remember, I told you about the lockdowns, and you said, no, they're going to fix it. They're going to cure it. It'll be over. We're taking precautions. And I said,
it's going to happen, whether you like it or not.
And then Nancy said,
Mein Lebenskampf ist nicht umsonst gekämpft. Ein Sowjetscheiben soll vor sich hertragen und wir werden in unserem Zeichen wieder siegen.
I love that. And let's just...
Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community. You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
My Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this. I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black. And other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind about it.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
The first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and
hurtful to hear you talk about the reputation of two United States senators who built their reputation and career on the segregation of race in this country.
Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker has?
Apologize for what? For what?
I mean, come on. They didn't dub his voice. They didn't dub his voice. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is dubbing. Let me show you dubbing.
Mein
This is dub.
Lebenskampf ist nicht
That's
mein
dubbing.
Lebenskampf.
That's not her doing it. I dubbed it. I got to see that one more time.
Mein Lebenskampf ist nicht umsonst gekämpft.
I fucking love that. I don't know. I love that. It's so dead on. But they didn't dub his voice. I didn't dub his voice. That's all him talking. That's all him. He's just sitting there talking and chatting and everything else, and all's cool and everything's fun. That's his voice. That's his words. But you're okay with him. And that's what shocks me. If you could tell me that I didn't hear Kamala accuse him of sexually assaulting women and saying she believed the women that they were assaulted. If I didn't hear him say all the things he did, then maybe. But I heard all these things. He said them. He said them. If you give an excuse to the things he said, that you're that person. That's what I'm saying is there's no white supremacists running around the general public that means shit. They're a bunch of idiot suburban kids. The real white supremacists are the rich people. And it's because they live off the backs of poor people. But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that they're all different colors, but they live off the backs of the blacks. They live off the backs of blacks, but they live off the backs of blacks and poor people. And then a lot more black people were free, or black people got free, and then a lot of them made money, and then those ones lived off the backs of blacks and poor people. That's what happens. It's just reality, and it's bullshit, and it's horrible. And people tell me, oh, da, da, da. Everyone wants to make change, but nobody wants to give up all their shit. Everybody wants to talk about how it's all, they want equality, but not the kind of equality where everyone gets the same stuff. What if we all get to go to the same universities? What if that's it? What if the only requirement is grades? Trump, Clinton, Bush, Obama, none of them would have gotten to go to the universities they went to if it wasn't for influence and money. And if you don't believe that, then you're stupid, because that's fact. All of them got to go where they went because of influence and money and this and that. And so none of them would have gotten the lives they had and everything else if not for that. Just so we understand. So it's the vagina and the dick you come out of. It's not fair. None of them are willing to give up everything and give up all their opportunities and all that shit to have it all be fair. They just want, equality where they feel better about having the money they have. They feel better about having more than everyone else. And then they can go on and keep doing it without anybody grabbing torches and burning down their fucking houses and burning down their fucking cars and taking all their shit. That's what they're afraid of. As long as they keep us fighting with each other, as long as they create socialism and do all this stuff, we're not going to go after them because they know we're super close to coming after them. We're super close. Guys, arm up. Get your pitchforks, get your shovels, get your shotguns, get your AKs, get your grenade launchers. We're going hunting the people with money. Why don't we all get together? Hey, every huge black person that's being used right now by the left or the right. So every Trump parade right now, if all the huge black guys, right, that they put up front to show, how diverse they are, if they can all come over with me, and then all the huge black dudes from the left that they put at the front of their parades or their marches, their protests, if they could also come with me, do you know all of us could change the world? And you could stop fronting for them. You could stop fronting for them, because I don't need you to front for me. I'll stand right behind you, with you, next to you, however you want it. We'll all be together, fighting together. I'm for it. Stop being used. You're being used by the left, being used by the right. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. Don't be the next big black dude who's being put in front to be shown, please. Please. There are so many reasons for people to be shown, whether they be black, white, Latin, Jewish, Indian, whatever. There's so many talented, wonderful, amazing people in this world. There's so many huge dudes that have so much beauty and ability and intelligence to them. Stop putting them up front. Stop letting anyone use you. Anyone who puts you up front, they're using you. Get away. Just be around humans. Be around humans. If you're in the Wilshire area in Los Angeles, right? If you're a black dude and you're out in front protecting a temple, why aren't you in it? Why isn't your family in there with them? Why don't they invite you over for dinner? If you're good enough to protect them, why can't you go inside, or why can't you come over for dinner? Why are you just good enough to stay in front? Keep that in mind, guys. People that have money, they're using you. Anyway, I've said enough. It's on, baby. It's on. They just heard you say they can't see you. See, if you can't see, they can't see you. No, they can hear you.
I know.
Oh.
I know.
Say bye.